Whoa, what's the hurry, Speed Racer?
My grandfather just had a stroke. I need to save him.
Well, I assure you we have everything covered here, but I'm here to answer any questions that you might have.
Well, that's a relief. You know, I was never really good at the game operation. So could you shed some light on what's happening to my grandfather?
Sure, like you said, your grandfather has suffered a stroke.
Oh, I know what that is. I get plenty of those when I play golf.
No, not that type of stroke.
Oh, you mean like the breaststroke in the pool? I told Grandpa to wait half an hour, you know. But that's probably how he got here. Grandpa never listens.
Yeah, that's great, but no. Your grandfather has suffered from something far more serious. A stroke happens when your brain is deprived from O2 from your blood, which causes brain cells to die.
Oh, that's really bad.
Yes, it is. There are two types of stroke, ischemic and hemorrhagic. Ischemic stroke is when the blood clot blocks blood from reaching your brain. While when a blood clot breaks and then bleeds into your brain, it is known as a hemorrhagic stroke.
Well, how do you know if you're having a stroke?
That's a good question. Symptoms may include sudden numbness or weakness of the face, arm, or legs, especially on one side of your body. Sudden confusion, trouble speaking or understanding speech, sudden trouble seeing in one or both eyes, and sudden trouble walking, dizziness, or loss of balance and coordination. And then also sometimes you'll get a sudden severe headache with no known cause.
Geez, sounds like Grandpa after a few whiskeys.
This is much more serious, I assure you. He is very lucky he got here when he did.
I'm curious though, how could something like this happen to my grandpa?
Well, there are some controllable risk factors and some uncontrollable risk factors that encourage a stroke. You said your grandfather drinks whiskey, which could negatively impact his health and also increase the chances of having a stroke. Some other risk factors may include smoking, physical inactivity, and obesity. But family history, age, race, and previous instances may be uncontrollable risk factors that you too may also have to deal with later on down the road when you're older like your grandfather.
Wow, good thing I'm getting to know this now and not later. So tell me, Doc, how do you treat a stroke?
Well, depending on what type of stroke they have, there are some treatments such as thrombolytics, TPA, and the Mercy retrieval system. Thrombolytics are drugs that help reestablish blood flow to the brain by dissolving the blood clot. A TPA is an enzyme that we inject into his IV to speed up the dissolving of the blood clot. And then the last resort is a Mercy retrieval system, which is a tiny corkscrew-shaped device that works by wrapping around the clot and trapping it. The clot is then retrieved and removed from the body, and this procedure has been performed in over 300 hospitals across the United States and is very effective in treating stroke.
Well, what kinds of long-term effects are going to happen to my grandfather? Like, will he ever be the same?
It's possible, but it ultimately depends on the damage sustained while his brain was deprived from O2. After treatment, and as soon as it is safe, it will be important for your grandfather to do therapy and rehab. This therapy will focus on all aspects of rehabbing your grandfather, including physical, nutritional, and functional training. These tasks depend on the level of trauma sustained from the stroke, but will ultimately include everyday tasks like walking at first, eating, and then also progress to more complex movements later on. Since I think a video would better help answer any more questions on, medications and stuff like that, why don't we go and watch this tape?
A stroke is scary. Remembering the terror is even scarier. Diagnosis of something like atrial fibrillation may seem like the end. With these meds, clotting is a thing of the past.
A stroke happens when blood flow to a part of the brain stops. A stroke is sometimes called the brain attack. If blood flow is stopped for longer than a few seconds, the brain cannot get blood and oxygen. Brain cells can die, causing permanent damage. Every 45 seconds, someone in America has a stroke. Every 3.1 minutes, someone dies of one.
That was really informative. But tell me, Doc, how do I stop this or prevent this from happening to me?
That's a good question. About 80% of strokes can be prevented. What you need to do is you gotta have a good diet, good physical activity, and go to your doctor for annual and regular checkups so they can check and make sure that all the risk factors are dealt with before it becomes an issue. I hope this answers all the questions for you, and I wish you and your grandfather the best of luck.
Well, thank you so much, Doctor. You were a lot of help.
Oh yeah, and one more thing, I'm not a doctor. I just watch a lot of House.